Well, hello, coffee time friends. How are y'all doing today? It is snack time. We are going to make a little salsa. Let me read the salsa recipe to you. Now, I'm going to make some changes just because some out of necessity and some out of preference. Here's the recipe. It's fresh Roma tomatoes. You'll need about 6 of them. Canned tomatoes, diced tomatoes in a can. Fresh cilantro. You'll need about a handful of that if you have it. Jalapenos, you'll need 1 whole jalapeno, or I'm going to be using slices because I don't have any fresh jalapenos. Red onion, you'll need a small red onion or about 1/4 of a medium red onion. Green onions, you'll need a couple of those. Garlic, I'm using minced, but this is a whole fresh clove. Lime, about 2 tablespoons of lime juice. Chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon. And a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt and pepper. And that's all you'll need. Now, I don't have all those things myself. I'm going to be doing some substitutions. And you say, well, why are you even showing us how to make something if you don't have everything? Well, that's just life. That's what happens. I know we all don't have everything. But you get in the mood to make something, you think, I don't have everything. I did have some Romas, but they weren't in the best shape. And I do have some out in the garden, but they're green. And I'm sure that'd be good too. These were homegrown tomatoes, and they were made at somebody's home. We bought these as homegrowns, and they have got some spots on them. And I've been cutting them off and coring them and doing all that good stuff before we get started. And here it is. So here is some whole homegrown tomatoes that we bought at the store. And I'm going to use 3 large ones of those instead of the Romas. The Romas do taste good, and they're great in salsa. And if I had them, I certainly would use them. I like to mix fresh tomatoes and canned tomatoes when I make salsa because it gives it a good consistency and you have this little bit extra juice in here. So I do use both the canned and fresh when I do salsa. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I'm going to at least take the lid off. But this is the canned diced tomatoes. You can use petite, or you can just use plain old diced tomatoes. Or you can use whole tomatoes because I'm going to run through the chopper anyway. I'm not going to be making these cuts precision. They're just going to be, everything's going to be rough chop because it's going through the power chopper. This is the Tupperware can opener, or as I like to call it, the unsealer. It doesn't cut. It just basically unseals the can, and it leaves no edges or anything like that. And it's easy, and it's smooth, and there's no harm to animals, children. Even when it goes to the recycling, it does not even. There's nothing to harm anything or anybody, and that's what I like. So I got that open. I've got a huge red onion, so I'm just going to use a little piece of it, and I'll show you that in just a second. And I don't have any lime juice, so I'm going to use my handy dandy Minute Maid. They do make this in lime, but I haven't got any. And I don't even have the little lime round thing you get at the grocery store that looks like a lime. It's got lime juice in it. I thought I had some of that too. So you just got to do with what you got to do with. This is real living. I want some salsa. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these tomatoes up. Not going to slice them, just kind of thick slice them and chunk them. And I hope you can see what I'm doing here. Mama's out in the garden, of course, because it's not raining. If it's not raining, Mama's going to be in the garden. I told her to look and see if she had any cilantro. She might get back up here in time for us to use it. If not, I have a handy dandy dry here. Whoops, don't you run, tomato. I have a little bit of dried cilantro. I don't mind one bit using dried. Fresh is great, and it has its own flavor. But if you want the flavor of that cilantro, you're going to have to put quite a bit of fresh in it. And I will use some fresh if she brings us some in. But the flavor is in that dried as well, and it's delicious. So don't beat yourself up if you don't have all that stuff. it's busy, and we're busy, and sometimes you just can't keep fresh herbs and stuff all the time. We start out in the spring with them, and I water them at least every other day, but sometimes they dry up. Sometimes they outgrow themselves and I don't use them enough. That's one of the problems with herbs. I don't use them enough. This is the Tupperware knife. Someone asked about it. It does cut. Someone asked if it was sharp. Let me just demonstrate. This is a tomato. You can see there's no cuts in the tomato. I slice it with this dot. It's not a tomato knife, but look how quickly it goes right through that skin. There's nothing wrong with that now. There's nothing wrong with a knife that'll cut a tomato. We do have tomato knives, and I do use tomato knives, but I don't have to have a tomato knife when a knife's this good and this sharp. I did get some comments about Tupperware. Someone had commented and said, that we weren't cooking anymore. We were just a Tupperware show or whatever. People, I'm just going to tell you, we sell Tupperware, and we use Tupperware, and we have for a long time. We're not trying to push it on nobody. We demonstrate it. Part of y'all really enjoy it. Some of you don't. But as we cook, we'll be using it, and we'll show you what we have. There are times when I do a full-on Tupperware demo of something. And that will just be, and I'll put it in the comment. I've told you all before, if it's just going to be about Tupperware, I'll start the comment out with Tupperware time, and we'll do all Tupperware during that series, during that show. And we would love for you to watch it. But if you don't like it, then just skip that one and wait till we cook again. And we will be cooking again. We cook a lot. We haven't cooked much this week, but that doesn't mean we're not going to cook, because we will be cooking. And right now is one of my favorite times of the year to be cooking. Well, I don't know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, those are good times too. But when fresh garden stuff comes in, I just take a notion, I want something, and I want to cook it up. And like cabbage out of the garden. I can't wait till we get that good cabbage out of the garden. Can't wait till we get tomatoes. Oh, tomatoes. That's my favorite thing in the world in the garden is tomatoes. So this is what you saw, those 3 whole tomatoes. Once again, Romas are best, and if I had them, I would use them. Here's a little tiny one that came out of Mama's garden. I'm going to put it in there because I know it's going to have even better flavor than what these have, because the story about garden tomatoes, I don't know. I think I'm just want Mama's, because to me they don't well, I'm choked up. To me they don't taste as good as Mama's, and they don't look as good even when I put them side by side. Now, which one of those you think is Mama's? This one. So see, there is a little difference in them. I don't know if it's the kind or what, but when I don't have one of my own, I sure am glad to get them. Never going to fuss about it because I love them, and just having good tomatoes in the stores means a lot. After last year, just having food in the stores means a lot. So we are glad to get a hold of some good garden tomatoes, even if we have to buy store-bought garden tomatoes. So there that is. Now that is going to be all the tomatoes that I'm going to put in there today. And then I'm going to put this can of diced tomatoes in there. You'll see the difference when I start mixing it up here in a second. I'll go ahead and get this onion peeled and all that stuff, and we'll run it through as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting it through the power chopper here. And once I put it in here, then I'll dump it into my bowl. And that way I'm ready to go with the whole thing. Now, when you're making something like this, you don't want to, like if I put the tomatoes in here and I chop them, and then I add the onions and I chop them on top of the tomatoes, even though they're eventually going to the same place, you're going to have your tomatoes over chopped. You're going to really have, there's Mama. I tell you, you've been to the garden. Oh, she has, and she's got some goodies. I see her little green onions. Those will be going in here.
They're getting too big. I'm going to have to plant some more.
Oh, well, Mama's tickled. She says they're getting too big. She's going to have to plant some more. Mama will plant 2 or 3 gardens a year sometime. She has her, and I'm sure you gardeners know, she has her early harvest. Actually, she does about 3 gardens. She does her early harvest. She does her harvest. And then she'll say, I'm planting some late beans and late corn and late tomatoes. And we'll have another round. Y'all may not know, but we'll have another round of green onions and lettuce. Just like we do in the spring. And Mama likes to plant them in February if she can.
You couldn't this year.
Couldn't this year, she said. But you like to, don't you, Mama?
Yeah, they get them out early.
I don't know if y'all can hear Mom over there or not. I don't know if
I
y'all
like to
can
get
hear
them
me.
out early, I said.
She said she's telling you again. Hold on, let me plug in this microphone just to make sure we can hear better. I don't know, maybe you can hear me better. Okay. Put tomatoes in here, and I'm just going to run them through. And I don't want these over chopped. I want them to be still kind of crunchy.
You get talking, you get carried away.
Mama's already getting on to me. So there they are. Let's see what I got. I think they're probably about where I want them. About 3 pulls there. Yep, they are to perfection. So I'm going to go ahead and dump them in the bowl. And I will, see there you can see how wonderful that red bowl, red tomatoes. Doesn't show up the best, does it? So then I will put the rest of these tomatoes in here. Now don't do like I'm about to do. Don't forget to put your little thing down in there before you add your product, because you can't get it in there afterwards. Well, you can, but it's difficult. So now I'm gonna get all these tomatoes in the pool. Come on, everybody, get in the party. Down, down, down. Okay. Now y'all watch me. Mama's watching me, but so I'm watching. I'm gonna do 3 pulls. So I chunked them and done 3 pulls. And there you have it. Good for salsa. I probably should have chose a different color bowl, but this is one of my favorite bowls. Someone asked about purchasing this bowl the other day. This one is not for sale, believe it or not. It is a Tupperware bowl, but it's called the That's a Bowl Junior, and you have a party to get this one. It's a hostess gift. So look at the consistency of that. Now I'm going to put these canned tomatoes in here. Now I don't have to really pull them but one time. I probably don't even have to pull them any, but I do. I'm going to give them 1 pull. Never have I done anything with 1 pull. But they are to perfection. And you got a little bit of juice in there. Now there's a piece of tomato that don't look so good. So this will change the consistency of these. You see they're firm. Now when I pour these in there, that changes the consistency and makes it more like salsa to me, because you've got all that wonderful juice in there. See, and now they're moving. It's just that juice you need in there. I guess you could use more Romas. They are juicier, but for the most part, I don't have Romas as a rule. I usually have regular tomatoes, but Romas are harder to come by sometimes. Now in the store you can buy them, but I'm talking about for homegrown. We have them, but
Right there, I picked 2 that's ripe. That's all that we
2 Romas. Here's the Roma. Mama, oh, well, Mama, you sneak some in here. Look, there's a little Roma. See, that's the little ones that look like pears, or the little oblong. You find them in salads, and they usually cut them in circles. So that's 2 of the Romas. I do have some grape tomatoes here. Now, all these tomatoes did come out of Mama's garden. We always keep a platter of tomatoes on the table. I'm sure all you people from around here did the same thing. So here's Mama's harvest today. Those will be a tomato sandwich later. I might even film that because it's that important that we have good tomato sandwiches.
What about, is that enough? You got 2 big ones in that, and is
Yeah,
that
this will be fun, Mama, right here. So I'm just going to cut these green onions that she just brought. You talk about fresh out of the garden. These are fresh out of the garden. I'm just going to cut those greens up a little bit, and these the bulbs. Is that what you call them, Mama? Mama said, yeah, of course it is. Whatever you want to call it, but that's what they are. So I'm just putting, the recipe calls for 2. I put 3. I'm a rule breaker. And I'm going to put this on here, and we're going to give it a couple of good cranks because you got those greens in there and the onion bottom. Now with this, when you've got something like that, you want to give it a shake. Crank it some more. Remember, we're making salsa. This isn't for pinto beans. You don't want the green onions to be big old green onions, but look how perfect. And that's going to give a little bit of greenery to the salsa. Mama, did you have any cilantro left?
No, there's some parsley.
Parsley.
But there's no cilantro. There's chives.
Chives. Gonna clean this out really good.
Just a little more green.
Not that it has to be cleaned out before I chop the next thing. I just don't want to over chop these again. There's a piece that didn't chop. Sometimes you'll get a blade or something that won't go, but look how pretty that is. Chopped green onions. Woo, and they are onions.
Strong ones.
They're real, as they say. Those are real onions. Now, see how I've got my fingers? You always, anytime you're using a knife, I don't care how big the piece is, always curl those fingers up. Tuck them, protect them when you're cutting. You don't want to cut your finger. So this set of fourth or a very small, I'm only going to use the top of this one, using that much right there. And I'm just going to peel him back. Just like that. Once again, I'm going to make that cut. Get rid of that root. Then I'm just going to quarter these up, or eighth them, whatever you want to call them. Chop them up, rough chop them. And, well, don't forget the blades that have to do all the work. Gonna put those right in there. This makes salsa so easy. And you know, salsa, I don't try to make salsa up to keep for days. I usually try to make it fresh when I want it. But inevitably you're going to have a bowl or so left, and it definitely is good the next day. But in the summertime, anyway, I try to just make it fresh. And I think it says you're done. Quit chopping. Finely chopped. We love salsa. Mama loves salsa. Mama's not big on hot, but she likes some salsa, don't you, Mama?
Yeah. Mild, good salsa.
Mild, good salsa. Mama, my salsa's good and mild, ain't it?
Yes.
Yes.
And your friends at work, her mother's is wonderful too.
Yeah. Salsa is a treat for sure. Okay. Now.
Well,
I think we're through chopping. Alright. So there, we've got our tomatoes, we've got our onions, and they're ready to go on to the next step. Now, it says on my little thing here, 1 clove of garlic. I'm using minced garlic. And I'm only going to put a little bit of garlic and a little bit of the juice, really, because I'm wanting more of that flavor than I am tons of garlic. Now, if you like garlic, use the whole clove or use a whole teaspoon of this, but we don't like it that well. I like it. It don't like me, but I can use minced. Powder, not so much. I'm going to put a few little pieces of jalapeno in there. Not enough to burn Mama. Just enough. I'm going to put just about a teaspoon of jalapeno juice. And then I'm going to...
Didn't you need lime juice?
Well, Mama, look at you. That's the reason. This is what I thought I had. I did have. Thank you, Mama. You saved the day. You saved some lemon juice anyway. I'm just going to rough chop these jalapenos by hand because I've only got 3 little rings here. And this is, Mama's already blowing. This is just to add a little bit of flavor. It won't add heat. It'll just add flavor. In these, there's no seeds. In these three that I just picked up, there's seeds in the bottom of the jar. But these are just our store brand at Save a Lot. Verde, I believe it is. So any kind you want to use them. This is just a little kick, nothing bad, just to prove that I'm not trying to out-heat Mama. There they are. And 1 teaspoon of the juice. That'll just give it a little zing. Mama has saved the day with the lime juice, and I'm going to use 2 tablespoons. I didn't get the tablespoons out. No, I can get them, Mama, right here. So I'm using this lime juice, and this is just from the store, and it's just a little lime shaped container. I don't like this in lemon, but I will use it in lime. I guess because I use lemon in so many other things is the reason that I find it matters differently. Well, they've got this one sealed. Nothing like preparation. See if it's going to come loose. Maybe there's something on this gadget to get them open. Nope. Well, let me see if I can cut it. It's it has a safety on it, a ring, and it's never been opened. Ha! I guess you just had to cut it. It was sealed half over. Whew! We work for you, lime. Half of that was sealed. Never had one do that before. But when else better to do it when you're trying to get them open? So we're going to put 2 tablespoons of lime juice in here. Let's move our bowl over here where you can see what we're up to. So I'm just going to squeeze. I use this kind of lime juice in guacamole and chicken sometimes. I do chicken with lime juice. 2 tablespoons. There we go. Now, lid, you cooperate better next time. I think it must have just been extra sealed, but it was safe. I knew it hadn't been open. Well, we don't need you, lemon. You're out of the picture. Okay, so let's go over our list. We've got the tomatoes in there, the canned tomatoes, fresh cilantro, about a handful. Don't have that, so I'm going to put a tablespoon of dried cilantro. Now, dried cilantro, you're going to get the taste. You're just not going to get those fresh, leafy pieces in there. I like the fresh, but I love having the dried as an alternative. I did put the jalapenos in there, the red onions, the green onions, the garlic, the lime. Now it's time for this magic little ingredient here. This is just chili powder, and it says a half a teaspoon. And I'm just going to, this has not been open. Yeah, it has. I'm just going to measure it out in my hand because I know what a half a teaspoon in my hand is. This just gives it a little extra something. You can leave this step out if you don't want it. As you can with anything, because as we've said many times, this is your recipe. This is just my suggestion to you. You take it and make it your own. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt because those tomatoes need some salt. And then I'm going to put a teaspoon of black coarse ground pepper. And that just gives it a little bit more flavor. So, I've seen recipes with cumin in it. I've seen recipes with other ingredients. This is the one I go with. This is the one that we eat. And I've got another one I do sometimes. I may have even done it. It's got a few different ingredients, but this is our go-to salsa when we want something quick and easy. I'm putting about a half a teaspoon of sugar. That just, don't want it sweet by no means, but that does give the other flavors in there a little kick, and that will make a little bit of a difference. Now, Folks, all that hard work, whew, we're done. That wasn't any work at all, was it? Especially when you think of what a wonderful little treat this is going to be. Hey, Mama?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to try some salsa?
Oh, yeah.
Come on over.
That don't look so great.
Mama said her hair ain't all pretty that. Mama's been in the garden.
It's pretty.
Oh, it's always pretty. Mama, you pretty all the time. I like to get all them little pieces.
On your head, you can't hold it.
So you're saying you wasn't exactly at the ball. You was in the garden.
I was in the garden.
Mama, that's fine. People know you got a garden. I've told them.
Yeah.
And they know you love that garden.
My garden's up.
You ain't going to do it next year, are you?
No.
You're just going to buy stuff, ain't you?
Yeah.
You ain't going to fool with no garden.
Mm-mm.
We're making fun because that's what she says every year. I ain't a fool with it next year. Now, this is just too much. Mama?
Get behind you.
No, get right there. Get right there. So these are just some plain old corn tortillas. Mama, get you one. Let's try this. These are the bite size.
They didn't have any of the rest.
I know. The restaurant style is what we used to get. Get you a bite. See what you think. See if I burnt you up, Mama.
It probably get hotter as it sets, is what I'm.
Oh, we can let it set too long. We're going to eat it. Not too hot.
Mm-mm.
Fresh. What do you say, Mama?
It's very good.
It's very good.
If I don't get a hold of those jalapenos in a minute.
Well, Mama, you'd have to win the lottery before you could find one of them jalapenos and all that. I don't know the price breakdown on this, but I'm sure it's not as much as store-bought salsa. But I do know the taste breakdown on it, and I promise you, it is delicious. I'm going to bring you in for a bird's eye view. There it is, folks. Homemade salsa. If I'd had aromas, I'd have used them. If I had fresh cilantro, I would have used it.
If a salad.
I did find, Mama did find lemon, so I did use
Lime.
it. Or, lime. That's twice you've had to correct me here lately, Mama. I think my mind's wandering.
I'm the one that's old, not you.
Oh, Mama, you're a lot younger than me. I hope to be as young as you someday.
Yeah.
Mmm. You want to know?
Not right this second.
We're going to fix this
I
up.
don't want to get choked on camera again.
Mom got choked last night. Was it something liquid with it? You kind of got strangled out.
It was that spinach.
Oh, the spinach sauce.
It was a little. I got it down the wrong way.
Uh-huh. But it was good. So, folks, that's what our little snack's going to be today. I am going to cook some in a minute. I ain't sure yet what I'm going to cook, but I'm going to come back and show y'all whatever it is. Even if it's a bologna sandwich, we'll show you what we're fixing tonight. So,
You know, a bologna sandwich and a slice of tomato sounds wonderful.
It really does, Mama. You about talked me into it. But we will come back and fix a little something. And if it don't air both of them tonight, you'll see both of them. You'll see us in the same color. Well, Mama may change. Mama's like a movie star. She'll change 2 or 3 times a day. I said, Mama,
Oh, Lord, they've done seen the worst of me right now.
Mama, you do have 3 hairs out of place.
Sure, a whole head full.
1, 2, 3.
I was down there bent plumb over hunting those onions in that bed.
Mm-hmm. How's the bed doing?
Well, tomatoes is getting too tall for my bed. I'm going to have to put something different than my tomatoes. Some of them's all right.
Stake them, maybe?
Yeah, but you don't have nothing to stake them into because the bed's shallow. But I'll figure something out later on.
You need a deeper bed.
Yeah, or little tomatoes.
Folks, we're going to go, and we're going to have this little snack, and then later on, I'm going to cook up something for supper. So y'all have a great day, making some memories, and have you some fun. Say goodbye, Mama.
Goodbye, Mama, and God bless you all.